Hi, g'day. My name is Sam from TradeToProspa. Today's the 16th of February 2023, and I'm here to give you a crypto update, more specifically on Bitcoin. If time allows, I'll look at the other alts as well. I'm looking at Ethereum as well, potentially. Here it is. To explain the macro chart at the moment, that was our reference point. Let's just change those colors. And on the weekly, that was another level. And on the weekly, there's another level, and that's where we found our support line. And it comes in line with a bit of Fibonacci maneuvering, but it makes sense. So that trend line was a strong hold, and very much this trend line is was meant to act as resistance, but what it did was it got the retest. So we went past it, found our resistance on the weekly. That was our weekly level there. We found resistance, came back down, and then when we use this Fibonacci from there to there, it is our 618. So the trend line, along with the 618, made it a strong bounce. Now, is that momentum enough to keep going? I do believe so, but I don't think we're just going to break through it. Reason being is here in the past, the 220, this one here, the 200 weekly moving average, has played resistance a few times, and that was two touches before we broke above it. And then we've got the 50 moving average, is this blue one here, and also first touch and pull back and so on. The hard part on this one is that we got both of them converging to the same spot. So now we've got the double whammy. So it's likely to be a strong resistance as well as the previous high. So that is going to be resistance, and I'm expecting some slight pullback, not all the way down there, slight pullback, and then up. So we might get this lower highs and maybe a triangle of some sort, a bullish flag before we break above it. So that's what I'm thinking at the moment. These trend lines do make a difference. That was a retest on the 618 as well as that line, and bang, it's gone. So we're looking for this resistance. Now, using this top level and this bottom level, we've got this Fibonacci, macro Fibonacci. And so we're going to look at what can take place later on. We'll come back and revisit this. So my justification, if we look at this carefully on the 50 moving average, there's this likely scenario where we can play this out. This one just gets above it but pulls back. So the 50 weekly moving average is strong enough, and so we've got this sideways range, and this is a bit of an awkward shape of some sort. It doesn't really give you a move. Now, continuing on from where I was, I measured this is about 28 days or so from there to there. Give us a sec. Let's just double check. From there to the breakout, about 30 days. There we go. Now, 30 days there, previous time when we broke out. So that's a fair bit of sideways ranging before it broke out. I can't recall that, but now looking at that, look at that move. Once we break the 200 moving average, it spikes. So this accumulation builds up and then spikes through. Now, if we look at other times, the 50 moving average acted as resistance a few times there, and obviously the 200 moving average acted as support when price broke above it. And again here, so the 200 moving average and the 50 have rolls in the past, and here we can see not so much, but the 200 is. Now the 200 weekly moving average is right there. So I'm thinking, okay, can we play this role? That does fit it, and pulling back. I don't expect it to pull back where there because we had the retest. Ever so slightly, we can adjust this because there's wicks there, and you can see that line there perfectly, right? So that retest was absolute on the 6.68. Okay, and so I'm expecting maybe we could get slightly above it, maybe hit right there. So I do feel like there's going to be a pullback, but not straight away. It's going to try to pass this, but eventually I think there will be a pullback, and then we need to see this pullback come back to this previous support. Let's see how this goes. Get the volume point of control on this one. So our volume point of control is there. And yeah, we might come back down to this level here, where that should act as support. And because we've broken above this previous head and shoulders, done a nice scoop, and you know what? That's very similar, or not that similar, where we had a head and shoulders here. So we had a head and shoulders here. We played that out. We got the reversal, and you can see, but this one didn't go above it. So this one's much more bullish. So this, you can probably do that. So this scenario could play out as well, maybe from this point onwards. Yep. So there's a few similarities with that head and shoulders with other price action in the past. And so my guess is that I would not enter now. I would wait for this pullback and just buy the dip. And we need to see accumulation sort of taking place. It will be a nice reversal shape, a swing failure shape maybe. But from the day's perspective, if we look at it from that perspective, we had 30. This one is 26. Not 36, maybe. If we just, it could be cut shorter. So 30 days it took last time. And if we were to shrink this, maybe it does that. Who knows? Each candle here is a 12-hour one. So if I were to line that up and put the days there, 30 days, we've got some reference. And you know what? It makes sense that is a good point. It's not going to be exactly, but I just comparing with the 30-day consolidation. So we've got the resistance and we've got the support. So we're going to range here, I believe, until we break to the upside. I doubt it that we'll come back down anytime soon until we hit our target. So looking from a target perspective, let's come to another chart. At the moment, right now, as I'm doing it, this is a 5-minute chart and it doesn't want to drop, but I'll be looking to do a small trade. When it comes up here, we might just see something take place and then just a bit of a pullback. I do expect a pullback, like I said, and that was right on the money, right on the moving average. And if we do this Fibonacci from there to there, you can see there's a 618 as well along with that. So that is another reason why we might get a bit of a resistance. So I've got a few reasons why that's going to be a resistance and a slightly pullback. But I could be wrong, but it's just my expectations. Now, looking at this chart, obviously it's all mapped out. I've done my Fibonacci in such a way that you can see how it's taking place right on the 1.272. All right, so small time frame. If we're looking at this as a wave 5, we can go wave 1, wave 2, this is wave 3, wave 4. Wave 5 is going to be somewhere around there, I'm guessing. Now, wave 5 we just by this expression we can look at 28k, close to 27k. But there is also another method of measuring the target, which is from there to there. Actually, let's just do that, and we probably get 26. Okay, so there's two ways of doing this, and who knows which one it's going to take. Now let's see this Fibonacci. If we were to, it's a difficult one, so let's have a look at this, and I'll just map out the fibs. Okay, so what we'll do here, just going through the Fibonacci's. From the top reference, we have a 0.302 there. Interesting how it just defaults to white. And we have the 1.618 also mapping across that. So when we use this level as previous one and bottom 1.618 equates to this 0.302 as well as the 0.5. So looking at that 27,400, I would think wave 5 is there. And what will happen from wave 5? Well, we might get this, establish a new trend line of some sort. So we might just get a, wherever it is, hit that, get a pullback, and then use this as support, and then back up again. So that will be our, you can look at this as a fib fan. I'm not going to put it on, but this is how Fibonacci fan works. Key levels. And so that will be my next pullback. And I suppose it's in reference to that level there. And if that doesn't work, if it goes above it, it will use it as support and then continue on. And then we've got this range here, which is previous resistance. So these are the levels that I'll be looking at. And this doesn't necessarily have to be wave 3 and 4. This could be wave 3 and 4. And we get an A, B, C, and then a continuation 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then maybe we could get to that level there. And that will be major. The 618 is definitely the major target from here. And just like in the past, if you look at it, this was a strong bull run, but I don't know if we're going to do that. But if we were to add this Fibonacci to that, it was a 786. But if we were to just change that, it was a 618 level. So if we apply that, if it works the same way, then our 618 level could be 48k. If it's going to be that bullish like that, I'm looking for this phase. So where we are now is this phase. Then we can have a strong move and then have that phase really ricochet and then blow off. So we might be able to get to that level. If we play those around here, we're going to have that phase. I think around there. Let's clean this up. Let's do it again. So I did talk about the current scenario is bullish. We'll go sideways for a while, taking this phase into place here. And then when we break above, this gives a good reason for it to be that phase with the Fibonacci. So I'm expecting a 0.302. And let's have a closer look. So so this is going to be an immediate response. We get A, B, C, and then up. And then this is where we're likely to find a resistance. There's a whole bunch of Fibonacci, so there's a level there as well. Anyway, we'll see how we go. I can talk about it, but you understand what I'm saying. There is going to be a phase where we're going to find resistance there, we're going to find resistance there, and ultimately resistance there. So these are the levels that I'll be watching for the big one. And then we have that macro trend line. And my goal is that if we make it all the way there, we get a pullback. And then the bull run. So we'll get this boring phase. And if there's nothing bad with the stock markets and all the rest, then we can play it out. So what we have is a sigma move. If you haven't seen my other moves, that's 1, 2, 3. Then we have A, B, and a C. This one went all the way down too much. So I'm looking at it as 1, 2. Where is 3 going to be? And then we have an A, B, C, and then up. Now there's that possibility that we could have a black swan event like this, where the stock market crashes and all the rest, and then we just do that. Imagine that happening again. Anyway, so that's my forecast moving forward. Um, Now, when we look at this chart, let's just chuck it in there. There's the bearish scenario as well. I don't think it is, but there's a possibility. So if we're looking from a Wyckoff perspective, I'll just map it out quickly. Our sell and climax, we've gone through that phase. We've gone through that phase over here. We had our secondary test phase, and now we are at this phase here. If we fail to get past this, we could come down to this scenario. So it's possible that we come all the way down and then back up. That is a possible scenario. That scenario, one of scenarios, I just label them. I'm not saying they're the priorities. And the worst case scenario, it comes back down and does this, the other model, which is a spring. So we can have that as well. And then a prolonged one. But at the moment, I'm looking at scenario 3, which is around here, bit of a cup shape, and then up. So we're going to have a potential triangle or some reversal structure. But if we don't hold it, we come back down here, and that's usually because of the stock market doing something different, not going up. So yeah, being bullish, it doesn't necessarily mean it's going to happen. And there's a whole bunch of stuff that's at play, and we still haven't broken that 200 moving average. And what I'd like to see is at least have a day or two above this level, candles closing above it, like these ones here. This is a weekly candle, so if we get a weekly candle above it, then I'm pretty confident that's going to keep going. If we get a weekly candle that doesn't close above this, we're not there yet, and we're still not we're not safe at the moment. We're not there. So you can see how it's bullish, but not necessarily done. And we'll see how that goes. Moving on to Ethereum, very much similar situation. We have our points of reference and pretty much the same. I got my Fibonacci mapped out, 0.382. That is the main resistance, and we want to see it close above it. Daily candle close above it, and we've got the 618 here as well as resistance from this perspective. Yep. So there's a whole bunch of stuff that will not, and there's the Wyckoff structure as well. Looking at that, it is looking good, but it hasn't quite passed it yet. So trying to enter right now is probably not a good idea. Wait to see what happens, settles it. If it goes up there, it might pull back, might do a retest there or a retest there, and then continue on. So we might be a bit more advanced. FTM. So these are a few charts. GRT is doing good. Phantom is doing well as well. So these are the ones that I had mapped the other day. Just seeing what's past LRC, still not there. Okay. And APTOS, I am looking at these targets here. The 618 there. So this could be wave 3, wave 4, and then local 5. Then get an ABC, and then potentially more. But you never know. This could just keep going. Now, looking at the Dixie, we had a breakout. We're having a pullback. It might just turn bullish, guys. Be careful. It might just go like that. At the moment, it hasn't prevented Bitcoin from moving forward. So the Dixie. But if it comes back down here, this is going to be a Bitcoin era to keep going. So I see this as an accumulation area. So I think you might get to that point and then come back down, retest, get a resistance. Or if it keeps going, then it's not looking good for the crypto market. Tether is looking bearish. Like we've got a reversal, but also we come back down to support. That is our support line from previous. So let's see how this goes. If it drops below this, great. I'm looking at confirmation is pretty much coming down below that, and then the decider, that is a decider if we're going to do the bull market. Total market cap is similarly, we've broken a resistance level, so it's bullish. Total market cap, I think we might keep going, and the bullish scenario is playing out. Where are we? Here, crypto total market cap. So it hasn't come to the 50 moving average yet. Yep. So that might be our resistance level. It's not, it's similar shape to Bitcoin, but not as advanced. So the alts are holding back. The bottom right chart is the alts are broken out. So we had this structure, and the alts are breaking out. Just needs to break this horizontal level, and then we pretty much confirmed. Might get a bit of a pullback, and then up. So alt season's about to start from that perspective. This is obviously Bitcoin, but we're not there yet, guys, because this is a daily, and we've got to see how the daily closes. It could easily pull back. You might retest this trend line, so this might just come back down and then back up. SP 500's turning bullish, so it might just break through that. That'll be a confirmation that we are going bullish. We want to see SP 500 break above that. This has come back to volatility, so this might just do that. We'll see how we go. And those ones who are looking at Tribit, Tribit's at 17 cents. Can't wait for this to break this level. Guys, I would say that if it breaks this level, you should enter, because it's going to continue up. It's been accumulating a while, but I'm looking at scenario. The other scenario is that it just comes back down like the others. Total market cap. Graph is still has this macro resistance level, so it needs to break that. It's got bullish momentum, but I think it'll find resistance there. Render's going great, very bullish. Starting to see signs of overbought. Glimmer has to break that level, that trend line. And Link still got a bit of work to do. FTM is at resistance, but I had this mapping ages ago, and oops, I better do that again. It's 34, Y5, a bit more higher. Optimism looking good. I think it will continue to go up. That was a good buy. I did average back in there, but I should have done more there. Bugger. And Matic is just flipped around completely. Look at that. That was a bearish structure, and it just reversed completely. So Matic is looking bullish, and I did say this might be a continuation pattern of some sort, like of reaccumulation. And looking at that on the daily, if it breaks above that, it's confirmation. So still not there yet on the daily, but it looks like it's trying to go. Previous high, so it will just break that. I think it will hit this fib. It's coming into a point of control. Let's see where it's going to be. Okay, so we can probably go all the way up to that point there. It's a fair bit, but we also have that level there too. So we have this level, which is pretty much the Fibonacci there. Okay, so that's what I got. We're off time. Please give me a like and share. Talk to you soon. Cheers.